They sold us fire extinguishers that were empty.
Alan Grayson took off as a lawyer by suing war profiteers. The progressive Democrat rode the Obama wave into Congress in 2008.
To Americans.
He's known for grilling folks on Capitol Hill and for using sharp and colorful language.
What do you have a higher opinion of, Congress or dog poop?
Now Grayson is running for U.S. Senate. In the Democratic race, he's running against a former Republican, Congressman Patrick Murphy of South Florida. Grayson has faced allegations of mismanaging a family hedge fund and using his official office for campaign interviews. Grayson says he did nothing wrong. President Obama, Vice President Biden, and Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid are supporting Grayson's opponent, Patrick Murphy.
Congressman Grayson, thank you for joining us. I want to start with the hedge fund investigation, and I have two questions about this. First off, if there was something to this, why didn't the Ethics Committee form an investigative subcommittee? And then if there was nothing to it, why didn't they just clear you and conclude the investigation? It seems to be left in this kind of limbo, which is doing you no favors. What's going on here?
Well, what's going on is bureaucracy. It's that simple. As you point out, there was no investigative subcommittee formed by the Committee on Ethics. Every single time that they've actually punished a member of Congress officially for any kind of wrongdoing, of any kind, they've always formed an investigative subcommittee first. But it's also true that they often wait until after the election to dismiss these charges.
Why?
And we say, well, bureaucracy. They just duck the question, and they find it's easier that way, that they can't be accused of favoritism one way or the other. But if you recall in the gubernatorial election last time, Charlie Crist had 9 ethics complaints filed against him. Governor Scott has 12 ethics complaints filed against him. Every single one was dismissed after the election. And that's what you'll be seeing here.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, if you had a do-over as it relates to anything with that family hedge fund, what would you have changed, if anything?
Nothing. I didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
I mean, it's that simple. I just didn't.
If you did nothing wrong,
right.
It still caused a great distraction. You're a wealthy man. You don't need the headaches and the distraction. You Google your name, that's going to pop up 20 times over. Why not just not have done it in the first place?
Because I invest with my children. You know who my partners are? Sky Grayson, Star Grayson, Sage Grayson, Storm Grayson, and Sohn Grayson. We invest together as a family. That's all we're talking about here. There's nothing wrong with that.
Now, to the claims that you used your official House resources to do some campaign-related interviews, I'm thinking of the Huffington Post Live, and then there was one other with a radio host thereafter. Was that a mistake?
No. No. I mean, again, you have to understand, I'm doing an interview, just like this interview here. Yes. We arranged the interview for unofficial business. We were talking about a particular issue. It happened to be an issue that was in the newspaper at the time. In the middle of the interview, they start asking me political questions.
That's true. That's true.
How could you ever shut down, and nobody shut down the interviews in the middle saying, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you about that. That's just not the way it works. They're holding me to a standard that nobody else is held to. In fact, they're not holding me to the standard because there's no investigative subcommittee.
Why do you think President Obama and Vice President Biden prefer a former Republican who supported Mitt Romney to you?
Because he is a callow tool. That's why. I've done wonderful things for my district and the people of Florida. I am, according to Slate magazine, the most effective member of Congress. I've passed 12 amendments on the floor of the House in the last 2 weeks. He's passed 7 in the past 3 years. I am the most effective member of Congress. I've passed 26 bills through the House, through the Senate, and signed into law by the President. And that's not what they want. They want somebody who will take orders. The power structure in Washington, D.C. wants somebody who's obedient. And I'm sorry, but I am not that person.
The President has also said we need to work our way back to civility, and you have said some things that are not civil on more than one occasion. Do you think that may be working against you in terms of the lack of support you're getting from Democratic leadership?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it at all. You know, you can look around the country. The Democratic leadership put Donna Edwards, who would have been the second black woman ever to serve in the Senate, in the trash can because she's got a mind of her own. They took Joe Sestak, a 3-star admiral, the highest-ranking Democrat, the highest-ranking military official ever to serve in Congress, and they put him in the garbage can because he's not obedient either. They want people who will simply do what they're told and collect that cash from Wall Street and leave it at that. In my case, I'm different. I'm the only member of Congress, the only one who's raised most of his campaign funds from small donors. They fear that. They have a system where they go and they reach into the pockets of the billionaires and the multinational corporations and they pay for their campaigns that way. I have broken the mold. They don't want that.
Since polling has shown, though, that more Americans prefer civility to digging in and incivility in politics, is that something that gives you some pause and think maybe you need to be a bit more civil, tone it down?
Listen, I've passed 60 amendments in the floor of the House in the past 3 years alone. 60. Every single one of them required Republican votes. Every single one. You can go look on C-SPAN. You know, C-SPAN broadcasts the proceedings of the House. You'll find that I'm the only one who actually bothers to go to the other side, talk to them about my bills, and get their support. Go find me some other Democrat who does that. Isn't that what really matters if you're talking about bipartisanship, the ability to work together to get good things done? I passed a bill to extend a Florida tax break that's worth $1 billion. I had to work 11 months to get that done. Talk to Democrats, talk to Republicans, get that done. That's not a question of civility or incivility. That's a question of working hard, paying attention, and getting good things done for people. That's what people really want.
Do we need more compromise in Washington, or do we need more federal lawmakers who dig in and stick to their principles?
Oh, well, I mean, my principles are very important. I mean, I'm a champion for justice, equality, and peace. I want to see a higher minimum wage. I want to see seniors getting a raise. They were cheated out of a raise this year. Seniors deserve a raise. I want to see Medicare cover eyes, ears, and teeth. I want to see universal health care. I want to make sure that people know that they can go to college, public college, even if they can't afford to pay tuition. These are basic fundamental principles of being a progressive, being a liberal, if you will. Okay? Those are my principles. That's what I fight for. The interesting thing about it is that I fight and I win. How much have you seen that in the last few years in Washington, D.C., where progressive can actually get good things done? I could give you countless examples. I mentioned over 60 amendments, every one of which I needed Republican votes to pass. 26 Grayson bills are now the law of the land. You know how many members of Congress have passed the past 3 years? Any idea? What's the average?
What's the average? Tell me.
Zero.
Yeah.
It's zero. Most members of Congress have not passed a single bill. I've passed 26 of them. The gentleman who's running against me in the Democratic primary hasn't even gotten one of his bills out of the House, much less out of the House through the Senate and signed into law by the President of the United States. That's what people really want. They want someone who has, who can deliver and make their lives better.